Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and thanks for tuning in. I'm really excited to tell you about a new segment to my channel that starts tonight called Friday Night Behind the Lens. So every Friday night I'm going to be posting a video of an interview that I've done with a photographer who also have their own YouTube account. Now I'm not talking about the big YouTube photographers with over 100,000 subscribers. These are smaller accounts, but their photography is equally as inspiring, if not more so. Okay, so tonight is the pilot episode, so please help me and welcome Adele and Max from Warner-Tate Photography in the United Kingdom. Also, leave them a comment and click on the link in the description below to view their amazing YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Adele and Max from Warner-Tate Photography.
There he is.
Hey, ladies.
You all right?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, we've just got giggles, haven't we?
Oh, I was actually a little nervous.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Felt like I was on a meeting with my boss. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. See you?
Good. I just got done watching your Sky News and
Yeah,
put a little bit, kind of went backwards a little bit, huh?
Yeah. It feels like quite a big step back, actually.
Yeah.
Sort of, I think it was back in June. Was it June or July that they started easing the restrictions a bit? So it feels like we've gone a few months back, really, which isn't great. So
what they've limited social gatherings to what, parties at like 6 people, I guess?
Yeah, inside or out.
It doesn't change anything like movement wise. You're still able to move around and travel.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think so. I mean, Boris has been on this afternoon at 4 o'clock, but we were still working at that point, so I've not actually seen anything, just the headlines on Sky News.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I need you guys to get better, and I need us to get better so we can all travel again.
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining me. I think this is going to be fun. This is the first one I've ever done, so hopefully this is kind of a success. And if it's not, it's just great to meet you and see you in person. On the video. But
yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, is everything coming through okay? Or
yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, no problems at all. Okay, should we get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so. I can probably tell by your accents, but what part of the UK do you come from?
Lancashire.
Lancashire. Okay, so a little bit north of the Liverpool area then? Yeah,
I think we're about an hour.
Yeah, about maybe 50 minutes.
Yeah. We're closer to Manchester. We're about 35, 40 minutes to Manchester.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought, because, I think I told you my best mate lives in Warrington.
Yeah.
Very similar accent to what he has, but if you go into Liverpool, for me, I can't understand a word they're saying. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. They're the friendliest people I've ever met, right?
Yeah.
I only catch about every third word.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So Lancashire area, so that puts you in like prime position to go traveling all over the north and up to Scotland and the Lake District, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. We're quite lucky because we've got Lake District and Yorkshire all within an hour and a half, so we're not too bad, really.
Sure, yeah, that's prime spot, I would think, for traveling.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. We've been saying that
Go ahead.
Sorry, Paul.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say we've recently been saying that we probably need to explore locally a bit more because we know Scotland like the back of our hand, but take us an hour down the road and and we don't know the area.
Now, do you do much?
Need to get out a bit more.
Do you go up into the Lake District much at all?
No, we've probably been once or twice. But we find it can be quite busy, and again because we need to spend some time.
I think we're having some connection problems.
Before we to park and where the best spots are, but that's all part of exploring.
Okay.
Connection.
Yeah. I lost you for a minute there. That's okay. No, it's going to happen, right? I mean, it happens on work meetings too. um, yeah, I know what you mean, because my wife and I came back from Scotland on our last visit over, and we stopped in the Lake District, and luckily it was pouring down rain and overcast, and there was not a soul there. But we talked to some people, and you know, they said this would normally be wall-to-wall people, right?
Yeah, busy.
So, yeah. Okay. Okay. So I've watched all your videos, and I love them all. So again, we know from the videos that Adele, you do all the photography, and but my question is for Max: are you doing all the videography behind the scenes?
Yes, I do. Yeah, happy to be doing that.
So you would rather be behind the scenes doing that than be on camera?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Although we're trying to encourage you a little bit more, aren't we?
Well, we saw in the last video that Max kind of grabbed the camera and went off on her own, right?
I said we haven't done any speaking since we've been here. Yeah. There we go.
Well, it was nice to see you in that last video, for sure.
Thank you.
And I heard Adele was giggling in the background.
Yeah, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Yeah.
I think I don't think I caught it, but I think she pointed it out. So you're perfectly okay with being behind the scenes and doing the videography, and
yeah, absolutely. Right.
Okay. And Adele, you don't mind being in front of the camera, or have you had to adjust to being in front of the camera?
Definitely adjusted. You know, sort of initially I wouldn't look at the camera, I wouldn't really speak. But yeah, it still sort of doesn't come that naturally. But you know, I think sort of the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Sure. And Max, do you do any photography of your own? Are you in the background taking pictures of your own, or are you just solely focused on the videography?
Mainly the videography. We've got a drone that I'm just learning how to use as well at the moment. So, but I do quite a bit on my phone as well. But again, mainly little clips to be able to use as B-roll.
Okay. But
I do the odd picture.
Now, Adele, do you do any of the videography, or are you solely focused on just the still images?
Max mainly does the video. Sort of, if I'm in a bit of a tight spot where I can't set the tripod up, then I'll just grab my phone and do a little bit, but not very much.
Okay. All right. But it does take some adjustment being in front of the camera when you're used to being behind the lens. You know, I still get nervous. I get shaky before I even hit that record button. I totally know how you feel.
It's awful. It's an awful feeling. It's an awful feeling.
It is. I can't tell you how many times, you know, even doing the intro to my video where I say, "Hi, welcome to my channel," I might have to do 12 different takes of that.
Yeah. You sort of have that minute when you press record, or I do anyway, where I'm sort of trying to adjust my breathing and all sorts, and you know, when you come to edit it, you're just cutting that bit out.
Absolutely. So I went back a couple days ago and I watched your first video, the one where you went to Northumberland and did parts 1 and 2. And probably about, what, a year and a half or so ago? Maybe not quite a year and a half.
Yeah.
So take me through that. I mean, how do you feel like your vlogging style has changed in that year and a half?
Yeah, so to be honest, the videos came together by accident. we were in Scotland away on holiday, and just sort of was going out for sunrise and took a little clip in the car. I was just mooching about with my phone, and stumbled across iMovie, and just thought, I'll just see whether the clips go together, and they did. So initially it was more just documenting our holiday.
Okay.
And they were never intended for YouTube, to be honest. They were just little videos that were 5 or 6 minutes long that we shared on Facebook for friends and family. And initially, you know, as I said, I didn't really speak to the camera. I would look at the camera. Max did most of the talking, and it was never about the photography. Even though we was out taking images, it was more just documenting where we'd been and what we were doing, and trying to show the scenery. And then gradually, the camera crept in a little bit more. And to be honest, there were a few videos before Northumberland Part 1 and 2 that I've actually taken off because they were terrible. They were. So I think it's just really, I think it's changed more in incorporating that, the camera more really, and sort of talking about what we're doing a bit more. I've gone through different phases of trying to speak a bit more about what I'm doing and explaining shutter speeds and various things, but now it's just, we're here, this is what we're doing, look at the sunrise. But trying to make it a bit more, I don't know, wouldn't want to use the word professional because they're not, but making the videos the best that we can, so the audio, the camera that we use now, we give the videos a bit more thought, the locations that we're going to. So there's quite a lot into the year that we've taken into account really, and tried to adapt a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the quality between the first video and the most recent video is, it's a huge difference.
Thank you.
So, I think everybody goes through that. Just, and I think you're right. I mean, from watching that, it seemed more like you were just kind of documenting what you were doing for that day, right? As opposed to, now you're trying to show your composition and show the location and how the weather affects it. So, yeah, I think it's really grown over the year and a half. I think it's fantastic.
Thanks, Paul.
Just to watch that growth. All right. Okay. So speaking of the improving technology and the camera equipment, what camera equipment are you currently using for? Okay, Adele, for your still photographs.
It's a Nikon D750. Originally started with Nikon D3100, was it? But quickly sort of wanted something a bit better, full frame. But yeah, I'm sort of on the fence a little bit about mirrorless. I like my camera and the way that it works and everything, the images from it. So I'm happy at the minute with what I use.
Oh, it's fantastic. I started off with the Nikon 3200, so right where you started. And I went to mirrorless, and I love it. I know Nikon makes a Z6, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the 750 is a fantastic camera from everybody says, you can't really beat it. Okay, so Max, what are you using for video?
We've got a Canon M50
for
the video. Fantastic little camera, that one.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of
sorry, Paul. It was always my iPhone initially that we did it, but what an absolute difference it makes to have the Canon. It's really, really good.
It's almost the standard I hear for doing vlogs and video stuff. And I thought about getting one myself before I bought the new Sony ZV-1. And I figured I'm already using all Sony products. I might as well stick with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the two are just amazing. I would think, and I've not heard anything bad about the M50 from Canon at all. And your videos look absolutely amazing.
We did have a couple of issues with it, so it's our second version of it.
Oh, okay.
The quality that you get from the footage is far better than the footage that you get from an iPhone. But equally, the iPhone can come in quite handy. Yeah. Say when you're in little spots, when you get your camera set up here.
Sure. You mentioned you just recently got a drone, I guess. What'd you get, and how are you finding that?
Yeah, it's good. We've had it a little while, but I've been a little bit dubious at times, depending on the weather and the seagulls. We've had seagulls have attacked it twice.
Oh no!
It's a Maverick Pro. I mean, it's fantastic, and we just keep saying, we've taken it out with us for a good few weeks now. But again, the conditions haven't necessarily been right for me to use it properly. I don't think I wouldn't do it justice maybe at the moment, but I've said to Adele recently again that we need to just get it up in the air and have a go with it, and because get some fantastic images from the drones.
Have you, other than the seagulls, have you had any other accidents with it? Dropped in the water?
I used it a couple of weeks ago, and I sent it out. Where were we? Was it? It was when we was in Algol, in Scotland, in one of our recent trips, and I sent it out, and I moved it across, and then the alarm went on the handset. I thought, oh no, and I looked at it. So I pressed return to home, and it said unable to return. So my heart was pounding, and Adele went running, and I just let it hover, and I brought it. It would lower, but then it was over the water. I was thinking, no, please don't go in the water. So Adele grabbed it, and then yeah, but it was okay. But we just need to. It's just my confidence with that, I think, really, just to get out there and give it a good go. Give a good go.
Sure, it's probably like anything else. You just need to practice with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
you can't do really anything about the seagulls, right?
No.
Okay. So you've done all your vlogging and your still photography. What do you do when you get home? What's the editing process like? Do you sit side by side and do it, or do you go to separate rooms, or?
No, I don't edit. Adele's a techno, so.
Yeah, so it depends what we've used. So, you know, you've used still images, and, you know, your photography camera. There's then all the footage from the Canon M50. Depending on if we've done any footage with the phones and the drone, there's all that to sort of incorporate as well. So I normally start editing my images first, and then sort of build the video. Just general sort of what I imagine a lot of people use for the images, Lightroom, Photoshop, and I actually use LumaFusion for the videos.
Okay.
That was something I discovered maybe, I don't know, a year ago, less than a year, but find it, there's more features on it than sort of iMovie and things like that.
Okay. Now, for your still images, do you find yourself, do you edit more in Lightroom or Photoshop, or a little bit of both, or?
Probably more in Lightroom, and then sort of if I want to remove something, you know, or tidy something up, I send it into Photoshop. I'd probably say maybe 90% in Lightroom, and a little bit in Photoshop, depending on what I need to do. But I think as I've gotten a little bit better with the images, I find that I don't need to edit them as much as I used to. It used to take me 4 hours to edit one image.
Wow.
Yeah, that's maybe a little bit of technical sort of, you know, learning, but I was trying to make an image something that it wasn't previously. So yeah, it gets easier when it's better in camera.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely. Now, I find I'm like you. I think I find myself doing 90% of the image editing within Lightroom, and I send it over to Photoshop maybe to remove, I don't know, like a sensor spot, you know, dust on my sensor or something like that. I find it easier to remove in there, or something in my foreground that just, you know, kind of tidy it up a little bit. Is that kind of how you use it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Just check around and just make sure, especially in the sky, that I've not got any little dust spots, or, you know, sometimes there's bits of things like you say in your foreground that you've not actually seen, or sometimes there might be a little ship on the horizon that's just going across, and you've got that blur. But yeah, that's mainly it.
Now, I'll tell you one thing, that one of the drawbacks I found about mirrorless cameras is that it acts kind of as a magnet for dust. So if you're changing your lenses out in the field, it's like a vacuum. It just sucks the dust in. I might have 20, you know, I'll clean my sensor before I go out. And if I change my lens out there, I might have 10, 15 new spots by the time I get back.
Wow.
So I think it's much worse than a DSLR as far as that goes. But as far as mirrorless, that's the only real drawback that I've found so far, actually. So, all right, something to consider if you're going to move up to that Z6 or. Okay, so assuming you don't go into full lockdown, and we're hoping and praying for that, what places are on your bucket list if you don't mind giving that away.
Well, we took a trip maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 weeks ago down south to Blackchurch Rock. But we lost some of the footage, and that's why we replaced the Canon 50. The images weren't great, so although we want to go back and take better images and sort of make a vlog in itself from there, because the footage that we did have, we just tagged on to the end of another vlog. So when we got there, it was high tide and we need low tide, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky, so we want to go back there. There's a lot of places along Jurassic Coast that we want to have a look at. Quite drawn, aren't we, at the minute to seascape and to the coast, aren't we? So we seem to be spending a lot of our time around the coast. Scotland. Yeah, Scotland. We're back in a few weeks, actually. 2 weeks on Friday.
17 days.
Wow. That's amazing.
There's a lot of places in Wales, although we don't know sort of specifics. We need but we're happy to go anywhere, aren't we? As long as we're out and we've got the camera.
So yeah, my visit's over. I've never really. I've been down to London once, and I'll be honest, probably not going back. Just way too busy for me. I mean, it's like any other big city, isn't it? It's like New York or Los Angeles. You know, it's just too busy. But you know, I've never really spent much time down south. It's always been from the Manchester, Liverpool area up north, and or over to Wales, and that's stunning. It's just so beautiful there. Now, my understanding is that down south is more. It's not quite as rugged. It's a little bit more storybook, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's quite flat, isn't it? It's quite flat. You know, sort of, it's got that real country feel down south. Isn't it? My brother actually lives down south, so we should probably spend a bit more time down there. But yeah, I mean, we went to Durdledore as well on that same sort of weekend, and the coastline is just stunning. It's spectacular, isn't it? Really, really nice.
How about over to the east coast of
oh, definitely. England? We've just come back from the east coast this weekend, so we were there Sunday into Monday. But there's so much, isn't there? There's so many places along that east coast, and you know, we've been to Flamborough Head recently. There's a nice sea stack there. Where we've just been at the weekend was another sea stack. But the whole of that east coast,
fantastic.
Yeah, sort of probably from Flamborough Head in Bridlington all the way up to Scotland. You could just spend hours and hours. It's beautiful.
Now, Joanna and I last summer we took a drive over and went to Whitby and photographed that beautiful abbey there, right? And you know, the bay there is it's just gorgeous from every direction, every view. And then I think a little bit north of there is they call it what, Robin's Hood Bay.
Robin Hood's Bay.
Yeah, and then I guess there's just all kinds of countless places north of that to explore too. So you could probably spend, like, your 17 days in Scotland, you probably spend 17 days doing the East Coast there too. So
definitely.
Well, good. Okay. All right. So we'll look forward to all those adventures too. Yeah, I can't wait for you. Now, on your 17-day trip to Scotland, is there any place in particular that you're going that you're looking forward to going more than another?
Sorry, that we're going in 17 days.
Oh, you're going in 17
days. We're going in 17 days for a week.
I wish we were.
Yeah,
I thought, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said you were going for 17 days. I was like, that's a trip of a lifetime.
We'll get a lot in 7 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to, we're staying just outside of Glencoe.
Yeah.
But we photographed maybe 2 or 3 years ago Bonefiddle Rock. But we wasn't vlogging then, so we may well do a vlog from there. Again, that's another absolutely stunning sea arch, incredible.
Yeah.
I was in awe of the place when we were there last time. But we're going to explore the coast a little bit around Scotland as well, and you know, try and explore a bit more around Glencoe, because I think the thing is we're always drawn back to the same place because it's so stunning, and you know, so you sort of drawn, aren't you? So we're gonna try and have a look somewhere different to photograph and take images and vlogs from, and just see where it takes us, and then we go to Skye again in November.
Wow.
So
You're killing me. Wow. So Glencoe is kind of towards, I would say, west of Edinburgh and Scotland, kind of getting towards the coast, right? But not quite on the coast. Is that correct?
Pretty much. I think the nearest coastline is Mallaig, going out to Mallaig, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But yeah, you go past Loch Lomond, and then you're about an hour and a half through into Glencoe then.
And then getting over towards the Isle of Skye, is it Fort William is right there, and that's kind of the kickoff point for some of those islands.
Yeah, so Fort William is probably...
Fort William is 50 minutes from Glencoe, isn't it? So 50 minutes further on from Glencoe.
Okay.
And then Skye from there
is probably, to get onto the island is maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
We stay at the top of Skye, so it can take 3-4 hours to get right up to the sort of northeast part of Skye.
So how do you get over to the Isle of Skye? Do you have to, is it a ferry that takes you over?
There's a bridge.
There's a bridge. We go
there's a bridge. Okay.
Yeah, the bridge, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, from home, it's about a 10-hour drive for us. From if we go in one, but we can't wait to get there. So we often just do that drive. We leave early.
So it's 10 hours from Lancashire, right? Yeah, up there, all the way up there to around Skye.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
but
noticed.
some great views.
Oh, I'm
once
sure.
Once you get past Glasgow, some great views.
Well, I hope to see that on the next visit. That's kind of, Joanna and I spent 3 days in Edinburgh, and we loved it, but we didn't love it at the same time. You know, just kind of like small London. It's just so busy and so cosmopolitan. Now there was some beautiful stuff to photograph, of course, but I think I would have rather taken those 3 days and done Glencoe, Isle of Skye, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
Okay. So what are your plans for your YouTube channel? It's starting to grow, it looks like. Slowly but surely, right?
Well, that's it. We started, let's say about a year and a half ago, and it wasn't. The videos were never intended really for YouTube, and then we sort of dipped in and out of it a little bit. Obviously, since lockdown and being able to get out a little bit more, and having the time because of furlough, we sort of have committed now to doing the vlogs and trying to get in front with the vlogs as well.
Yep.
But I think in terms of the plans for the channel, I don't think we really have a plan as such. You know, we just keep going out and doing the vlogs and showing where we are and what we're doing, and if the channel grows, it grows, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, we're happy, and we enjoy making the vlogs, and we like watching them back, and you know, it documents where we've been and the memories as well, which it predominantly started off as. So I think it's just really keep doing what we're doing, and like I say, just keep getting out there, and if it grows, then fantastic. And I think one of the things that I find is that there's not a lot of females on YouTube that do landscape photography or seascape. There's a small group of women that do it, but not many. So I suppose that's probably the only thing I would say, is that it's for us, you sort of think you want to do it and carry on doing it and hopefully see it grow, but just to have a bit of a presence, I think, as well.
Now, I think that's one of the best things about your channel is that you're two females doing a channel. You're exploring out there in yeah, I don't want to say predominantly male YouTube photography, world, but it feels like that, doesn't it? That it's all males out there doing, the big ones out there, Thomas Heaton and all those guys, and there, I mean, I think there's a girl up in Scotland, Kim Grant, who does that. I watch her, and that's always nice to see her. But yeah, even over here in the United States, there's not a whole lot of female representation as far as YouTubers or photographers out there. At least having a presence on YouTube, really. So to me, that's the most refreshing part of watching your channel.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. There's a lady that we've watched for a good few years, Lynn Luxton Jones. She's superb. There's a lady that's just recently started Pen B as well, but it's still very, very small in comparison. So yeah.
So do you ever, I don't know, because your vlogs have really come a long way and they're really top quality now, I think. So do you ever get frustrated by it? Like that you're not, growing the channel as fast as you want it to? Not that you said you wanted it to, but I mean, your videos are fantastic, and there's no reason that your videos shouldn't be viewed thousands and thousands of times, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say we don't get frustrated, because it's something we do, it's something we enjoy doing, and like I say, if the channel grows, it grows, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think with more viewers or more subscribers comes probably a lot more pressure as well. So we wouldn't be phased if the channel did grow, but it's not. I don't think we get frustrated.
No.
You're always sort of thinking, maybe what could we do slightly differently, or is there something somebody else is doing maybe that we're not? But we don't get hung up on it or anything like that.
Good. You're not refreshing the stats all the time and checking to see how many views you got and all that kind of stuff.
Sort of maybe when we first put it out, and then you get your little notifications come through and whatever. But yeah, I think we all do it, don't we? We'll all sort of have a look and see how it's done.
I think one thing with it as well is we do have quite a nice little bank of regular viewers that will leave us comments and things, which is lovely, and
sure.
I would rather have, I'm sure we would rather have 50 or 100 people that watch and comment genuinely than 1,000 people that are just following and liking and following and,
Sure. I mean, it's got that intimate feel, right? I mean, that you can answer back, and you almost feel like you know the people, even though you may or may not have met them. At some point, I think the channel, it may grow too big where you literally can't answer everybody back, even though you want to.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't have the time in the day to do it. So, okay, well, good. Again, I think what you're doing is refreshing. I look forward to your videos every week, and it's just nice to see women out there representing the photography community and doing it really well at a super high level. It's just fantastic. No, it's just fantastic, and even Joanna, who doesn't watch my YouTube photography videos, she'll sit down when you have a new video out and she'll watch it, and she's all about the midgies, and she hates them, and we need a hat just like that, or something like that. But she really enjoys your videos too, so that it's something that we and she was going to be here, by the way, today, but she had to she thought she was going to be working from home, but she had to go work from the school, so she does say hi, and which she's going to watch the replay when she gets home tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so last of my pre-written questions. What does the phrase "a little mooch" mean? You said it earlier today.
Over to you.
Is that something that you've made up, or is that a common phrase? Because I've never heard it on my trips over there.
I'd never heard it until I'd met Adele.
There's probably a lot of words Max had never heard. But it's probably local dialect, really. But it's just having a look around having a little mooch about, so having a little wander, just to scout out an area, really. Little mooch.
Okay, I'm going to start that over here.
It'll catch.
So in my travels over there, I've brought back little phrases with me that I say, like bits and bobs, right? I mean, that's not an American saying. That's something that you say. And since my friend lives over there, I find myself talking to him and using phrases to him that I wouldn't normally use here. So I can just add this one to my my bank of words and phrases.
We'll listen out for that, Paul.
Yeah.
I may just try to sneak it into a vlog here and there and see if you get it.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, that's all the questions I had, and thank you guys so much for joining me. It's been awesome to, I feel like I'm meeting you for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Thank you for sort of inviting us on. It's been an absolute honour to be your first interviewees.
Well, I look forward to watching more of your videos. Maybe we can do a follow-up of these, one of these. This is the first one I've done. My plan is to, do some from you guys over there. There's a couple other YouTube photographers that I follow over there that I like to do. A couple here in Florida that I know. I've never met them, but that live in different parts of the state. The next one I would like to do is a gentleman that lives here in St. Petersburg, Florida, who he's Air Force veteran who he suffers from PTSD, and I don't want to give away his story, but he uses photography as a therapy. And I think it'd be really interesting to hear his story. And everybody's got a different story and a different reason for doing photography, or a different reason to, do the YouTube vlogs like he explained. So I think the stories are wonderful, and hopefully people enjoy hearing other, what motivates them to get out there and do that kind of thing.
Definitely.
Well, ladies, thank you all very much. It's been amazing having you. And and hopefully if we're ever allowed to travel again, we can maybe have a little adventure in person sometime.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. Well, you all have a great evening. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
Say hello to Joanna.
I sure
Definitely.
will. Okay. We'll see you in the videos.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the premiere episode of Friday Night Behind the Lens. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed making it. And thank you so much to Adele and Max of Warner-Tate Photography for coming on and making this a successful and fun first episode. So I'm going to put a link to their YouTube channel right up here, and I'm going to put it in the description below as well. I'll also put a link to their Instagram account, so just go ahead and give them a follow. You're not going to be disappointed. They take you on these fun adventures. Their photography is amazing. Their videography is beautiful. And they take you on these grand adventures all over the most beautiful locations in the United Kingdom. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in this week. I really appreciate it. And I hope you join me again here at the same time next week on Friday Night Behind the Lens. Have a great week. We'll see you then.